Last week we talked on a topic I titled Jesus Cares. Amen. Jesus cares. No matter what you and I are going through, we understand that He cares. He cares more than we can even begin to imagine. He loves us so much that we may not understand what is happening behind the scene, but the Father is constantly watching over you and I. No matter what it is, sometimes we feel that He doesn't care. We feel that He's not there in that trial that we are going through. Even though we are in the furnace of fire, He's there. Even though we are in the lion's den, He's also there. And once you settle that in your heart, that God is wherever you are at, it's easier to take any challenge that comes your way, because you know you are never alone. It's when you think that you are alone, that's when you feel depressed and tired and confused. But when you know you have the King of Kings with you in that trial, it gives you a kind of peace and assurance that He will take care of everything. Because He's promised us, He said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. What that means for me is, no matter what I'm going through, if He has said I will never means no matter the circumstances, He will never leave me and He will never forsake me. Once I settle that in my heart, it's a lot easier to know that through waters, through rivers, through fire, He's there. And sometimes I know that there is our mind questioning, don't you care that we perish? But He's also there with you in that situation. So if the ship goes down, you all go down. That means Jesus is going down as well. And we all know that He will never go down. And if He's not going to ever go down, then we have the confidence that He will take care of every area of our life. No matter the outcome, He's there for us. Amen. Amen. Okay. So today, just thought I would let you know about last week. If you still want to know more, I think you can go on our YouTube page, Facebook page, whatever page, and then you'll be able to just listen to the message again. Amen. So today I'll be talking on a topic. You can dream again. You can dream again. Like I said, please don't mind my voice. It's just the way it chooses to go. I never mind it, so it's fine. You can dream again. I was reading Genesis chapter 37 from 2 to 11. I think we just look at it. Genesis 37 from 2. You know how we do it. This is the history of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his fathers, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wife, and Joseph brought a bad report of them to his father.
Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age. Also he made him a tunic of many colors.
But when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him and could not speak peaceably to him.
Now Joseph had a dream, and he told it to his brothers, and they hated him even more.
So he said to them, please hear this dream which I have dreamt.
There was wine and sheep in the field, and then behold, the sheep arose and also stood upright. And indeed the sheep stood in order around and bowed down to my sheep.
And his brother said to him, shall you indeed reign over us, or shall you indeed have dominion over us? So they hated him even more for his dreams and for his words.
Then he dreamed still another dream, and told it to his brothers, and said, look, I have dreamed another dream. And this time the sun, the moon, and the stars bowed down to me.
So he told it to his father and his brothers, and his father rebuked him and said to him, "What is this dream that you have dreamt? You have dreamed. Shall your mother and I and your brothers indeed come to bow down to the earth before you?"
And his brothers envied him, but his father kept the matter in mind.
Amen. That's Genesis 37, 2-11. The title is "You Can Dream Again." I was reading this passage and I saw that the first time Joseph dreamt, he told his brothers. And because of that, in verse 5, the Bible says that his brothers hated him even more. And from what we've read, it did not stop him from dreaming again. He kept on dreaming. And it did not stop him from talking about his dream. The father, his brothers hated him. His father rebuked him. It did not matter to him. He kept dreaming. And he kept talking about his dream. And what I want to say is each one of us has been given the ability to dream. And sometimes when we dream of achieving certain things in our lives, we set off and we begin to run after the dream the first time. And it sometimes do happen, just like it happened to Joseph, that the brothers were rebuking him and they were angry with him and they hated him. Even the father rebuked him for dreaming. But that did not stop Joseph from dreaming. He kept dreaming and he kept talking about his dream. I want us to understand one thing. Your dream is your dream. And no matter what anybody says about your dream, whether the dream will materialize is up to you. It has nothing to do with your brothers, your sisters, your father, your mother, but it has everything to do with you. If you dream the first time and you're told off, you're rebuked, you're hated for dreaming, that's okay. But the problem is if your dreams stop because of the hatred or because of the rebuke. The rebuke and the hatred should help you to navigate your dream in a way that will glorify the Father. Perhaps if he wasn't rebuked, he might say more and say it even to the enemy. And then they will truncate his destiny. But because he has been rebuked, I'm sure, it's my opinion, I'm sure that will help him to kind of know how to say the dream, how to talk about it. But at the same time, it did not stop him from dreaming. You can always dream again. No matter the first time what you were told about your dream. God has given you and I the ability to nurture every gift and talent that he has given to us. I am very sure, it's my opinion as well, that Joseph was not the only one dreaming in his household. I'm certain that his brothers will dream because everyone dreams. Sometimes it's just that we don't remember the dream. But not everyone forget their dreams. And for Joseph, he remembered his dream and he talked about it. And I'm sure that his brothers also had dreams, but maybe they trivialized their dreams. Maybe they didn't think it was an important dream. But for Joseph, he knew that his dream was important. And he took it seriously. And he decided to talk about it. If he had not said anything about it, the dream will not mean anything. And he may not have put it down. I always say, if you if you've heard me talk about it, whenever anybody tells me that they've dreamt, one thing I'll tell you, did you write it down? That would be the first thing I tell you. The first time you dream, it may not make any sense to you. But the most important thing is you write it down. Because at some point in your life, it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years, it begins to make sense about that dream you had many years ago. But if you don't write it down, you will forget that you ever dreamt. And you begin to think it's just your mind. But if it's written down, like I always say, I put the date and I put the time. And that is the only way I can ever think it's my mind that's playing with me. Because I was thinking when I was writing. So it's important that when you dream, you write it down. Amen. If his dream was to ever come to pass, it did not depend on the father loving him. Because the Bible talks about the father, his father loved him more than his brothers. I want you to understand that his dream coming to pass wasn't because his father loved him more than his brothers. Because the father's love did not change the dream and what he was going to go through. In fact, his father's love put him into more trouble than he would ever have experienced. Because the father loving him made his brothers hate him. And that put him in difficult situation. So don't ever think that because you dream and everyone loves the dream, or the person, someone loves you for the dreams that you had, is what will make it come to pass. What will make your dream come to pass is dependent on how you handle your dream. And the only way it can happen, I always look at it about 2 or 3 things. One of the things that will make your dream come to pass, to become a reality, is the decision you make about your dream. The decision you make about the dream you have, what do you do with your dreams? What do you do with them? Do you trivialize it and say it doesn't mean anything and just forget about it? Or do you make a conscious effort, like I'm saying, to write it down so that you begin to meditate on it and begin to think about what that dream really means? That's a decision you have to make. Making a decision about your dream is one thing that is important. The second thing I would say is becoming committed to that dream. The determination and the zeal, the desire to see that dream come to the manifestation is key in your dreams coming to pass. If, for instance, I decided that I wanted to study up to a PhD level as a dream. I dream about it. I talk about it every day. I want to at this stage be this or that PhD level. My dream will not come to pass until I make a decision to actually begin to look for a place to study for my PhD. If I decide and I talk about it this year, next year, 2 years later, 3 years later, 5 years, I'm still talking about it, my dream will never come to pass unless, of course, I take action, and that is I make a decision to follow it through and see it come to pass. And I must be committed to it. And one of the things, like I said, about being studying to a PhD level, studying to a PhD level is good, but if I do not commit to it, and for some of us that did adult education as a mature student, we know what it took to finish the course that we started. I know that there were obstacles that could have made me give up when I went back to university. Because there were family, there were children, there were all kinds of things, and work. They all came my way. But it was a decision, and because I have started it, I always say, never start a thing I cannot finish. And when I do, I think about it before I embark on it. And then when I make a commitment to do it, I step out and I do it. If it's a dream you've ever had, you have to make a choice, and that is make a decision. When do you intend to make this dream happen? And begin to work towards it. And for every dream, there is need to be determined to see it come to pass. And that means you must work towards it. You must begin to put things in place to work towards the manifestation of your dream. And you must be committed to it. When I talk about commitment, like I said, as a mature student, what I had to do was cut out on parties. And my weekend became precious to me. My evenings became precious to me. The spare time I had became precious to me because I needed to do the assignment, the coursework, and all the things that I needed to do. And playtime was over. And every time counts. And if it wasn't important, then it wasn't on my priority list. When it's play, that can wait. Because in order to get to see your dream come to pass, you must make a conscious effort and you must make a decision. Outside of God, everything else was not important to me. But if it's God, yes, I'm there. Because I know He gives me the ability to do all that I have to do. And if you are committed to it, you will see the manifestation of your dream come to pass. The same with if I want to run a marathon and I want to win, it means my diet will have to change. It can never materialize until I put in place all that is required to make the dream come to pass. Joseph was a young man, and everything he went through, if you read about his story from Genesis 37, if you read even up to 47 or thereabout, all the dreams that he had, he was conscious of it. And he was very committed to seeing the manifestation of those dreams that he had. And wherever he was conscious of who he was. And he was not allowing anything to take him out of the destiny and the purpose that God has in store for him. And that means at Potiphar's house, he was willing to make his body a living sacrifice, because that is holy and acceptable unto God. For every trial and every temptation that he went through, he couldn't have achieved his dream unless he was also able to conquer every of the challenges that comes his way. If we are committed, if we make a decision about our dream and we are committed to it, it does not mean that there won't be challenges along the way. There will always be. That's natural. But whether you drop your dream or pick it up is dependent on your discipline and your ability to see ahead of where God is taking you. We all dream, like I said, and I said to you, I'm very sure that Joseph's brothers were dreaming as well. But maybe they didn't take theirs seriously. But Joseph took his very seriously. So when we all dream, we can only achieve it if we are disciplined enough and we commit ourselves to the dream. Between our dream and the manifestation of our dream is a process map. And those process map are so many things that are within that process map. That process map, the map includes discipline, determination, commitment, and all kinds of things. And it includes obstacles as well in that process map. Obstacles, challenges, barriers, temptation, all kinds of things that is pushing us to make us quit. And if we halfway through drop it means our dreams will never come to pass. And in that process map, there will be mockery, there will be jeering, there will be laughter, there will be discouragement, all are process map along the way. People will laugh at you, unbelief. Even you will lack the confidence in yourself, in what God has called you to do. And sometimes we have the inferiority complex. I can't do this. I don't qualify. I'm not able to get to where, I ought to. And sometimes your family might be the biggest barrier. Just like Joseph. Sometimes they might be the greatest barrier that you have to face. And you have to conquer that. Conquering that does not mean that you kill them all. It means that you walk with them and understand that God is using them to propel you to where He wants to take you. Could be your brothers, could be your sisters, could be your friends, could be anybody. They could be the ones that will mock you, that will discourage you, that will make you lose your confidence. But again, that is not enough to make you stop dreaming. Just like Joseph, he kept dreaming. Despite the fact that his father rebuked him, despite the fact that his brothers hated him and they mocked him, he kept dreaming. And it was his dream that took him to the destiny and purpose that God has in store for him. Everything will come after you when you begin to dream. If you are not dreaming, nothing will happen to you. If you don't have a destiny, nothing will happen to you. You will just be there. But once your destiny becomes a light that the enemy can see, then remember, they'll come after you. But it's a decision that you have to make. And if you put God at the center of your dream, you will always achieve your dreams. But remove God outside of your dream, and it's a disaster. But when God is in the midst of your dream, no matter what is happening around you, God is able to help you to go through the process map and all the things that you may go through. God is able to help you through it all. And the process map, like I always say, if you lose the ability to dream, it is because you remove your eyes from the focus line. And each one of us, we dream. But trust me, not everyone achieve their dream. But it's a choice that you and I will always have to make on a daily basis. The things we do determine whether we get to that place of destination. Our ability to discipline ourselves on a daily basis to make sure, just like Joseph did, everything he did, whether he ended up in the pit, whether he ended up in prison, it did not matter. He regarded those things as the process map. But he knew where God was taking him. And if you read the end of his story, you know that it can only be God that could have helped him. And everything he dreamt about came to pass, because then his brothers actually came and they called him my Lord when they arrived at Egypt, when there was no more food. If you have time, I'm sure, if you read from Genesis chapter 37, read up to 47 and thereabout, it's about a lot of chapters to read. But that's the story of Joseph. And his brothers, they all bowed down and they had to accept that he is their Lord. And they all worship him. Whatever I want to say is at this time is, whatever dream you may have had, that you may have buried, that you may have thought is not possible again, I want you to understand, just like Joseph, he never stopped dreaming. I want you to know, it's time to begin to dream again. It's time to revive every dream that you've ever had. It's time to wake up and say, I want to run this marathon, but I want to start with a decision. Once you make a decision, is to commit to it and to be determined enough to see it come to pass. Not be the kind that today you dream, you're happy about your dream, and you run with it for 5 days. And after 1 week, you have buried it because something happened that discouraged you. And if you are able to take a cue from Joseph, you will always see the manifestation of your dream. Whether it be a business you want to start, it is still possible. It's never too late to start anything that the Father has called you to. If I wanted to do a PhD, it's still possible. I only need to be disciplined to know that I cut out playtime and begin to do all that God has called me to do. There is no impossibility. We all have the ability to dream. But when you take your dreams seriously, you begin to see the manifestation of your dream. Whether it be a career, anything, a job, a business, anything that you have proposed to do. There is no impossibility. The impossibility is only in your mind. And once you conquer your mind and you're committed, disciplined enough, you will achieve your aim. And the same way it is with serving the Father. The discipline to pray without ceasing, the discipline to study the word, the discipline to commit to the department that you have committed to. Whatever you do, be responsible about it. Whatever you commit to doing, be responsible about it. Take it as a dream and see the manifestation. See it and let it come to a reality. Eventually, everyone that mocked you will celebrate you if you learn to dream again. God bless you.